Hi, it's Steve Lingard of CI GAM. Stocks, bonds, and commodities all rallied during the second quarter as declining COVID infections amid vaccine rollouts buoyed the global economy flush with economic stimulus. Commodities led the way, closing up nearly 12% in Canadian dollar terms, followed by global stocks at 6% and Canadian bonds rising 1.6%. Canadian Western Select crude paced the gains in commodities, finishing up over 20%, while gold bullion rose just over 2%. On a regional basis, Canadian stocks led the way, with large caps up almost 9% and small caps up even better at nearly 10% during the period. U.S. stocks regained their composure after a relatively poor first quarter, rising 8%, supported by a decline in bond yields, which support the higher technology and secular growth exposure in the U.S. market. The Mosaïque balanced ETF portfolio rose 3.8% in the quarter, benefiting from an overweight to equities overall and Canadian equities specifically. We continue to favor non-U.S. markets due to the gathering and synchronized global stimulus. Non-U.S. markets tend to have more leverage to faster economic growth given the sector exposure in non-U.S. markets, are more cyclical, and have higher expected earnings growth into the second half of 2021. Meanwhile, valuations are also much more attractive in non-U.S. markets. This view and positioning was challenged towards the end of June as bond yields, which peaked mid-June, began to decline into quarter end and continued into the third quarter. Defensive sectors and secular growth stocks most prevalent in the U.S. market should outperform in this environment, but we think this is temporary. Concerns that the more infectious Delta variant and higher inflation will prompt the Fed to abandon their average inflation targeting framework, as well as technical positioning, seem to be the catalyst behind the retreat in bond yields. Our outlook is that this is temporary and ultimately a strong recovery will result in continued upgrades in corporate earnings, offsetting pressure on valuation multiples from potentially tighter monetary policy down the road. Thank you.